Hey everybody, welcome back to The Stuff of Legend. My name is Dceu and I've got another video for you today. We are going to be fan casting the Dceu Edward Nigma the Riddler. Now, a quick distinction before we move forward. This is not going to be a Riddler for Matt Reeves, the Batman. That is already cast, and I'll tell you about that in just a second. But for any potential other DC projects, including the Dceu, which tease the Riddler, but does not have a Riddler as of yet, this is something we would like to fan cast. So I'm going to go ahead and shift my screen. Let's say what's up, guys. It's good to see you again. Make sure before we get started, you do me a couple of favors. You like this video, leave a comment down below, share it with a friend, subscribe to the channel, help me get to 1,000 subscribers so I can start making some money out here on YouTube. And turn on notifications so you can be alerted right away when I go live next time. That way you won't miss a single thing. And you can hit up the live comments because these videos I do are live. So you can actually leave comments and I will get to those comments before the end of the video. And they will become part of the Stuff of Legend discussion on this video. So that way, if you have a fan casting yourself, you want to add to this list. I have 10 plus 5. I've got 5 bonus picks and I'll get to why I have 5 this time, a total of 15. Even though this is a list of my 10, there's a few bonuses in there as well I think will do really nicely. So let's go ahead. Without further ado, I'm going to shift my screen over so we can take a look at what's going on here with this fan casting. All right, so first up, let's talk about the Riddler real quick. The Riddler is a fictional supervillain appearing in comic books published by DC, created by Bill Finger and Dick Sprang. He first appeared in Detective Comics 140. He is a Batman villain. He's been live action iterated 3 times, if I'm not mistaken. There's another one on here I won't mention, but there's also plenty of vocal acting versions, including Conan O'Brien playing him in the Lego Batman. You also have Wally Wingert, John Glover, Bruce Timm, John Michael Higgins, Rob Paulson, and Andre Sogliuzzo. Plenty of versions of the Riddler have been iterated. Also, the live-action ones are Corey Michael Smith on Gotham. That show is already concluded and is finished, so there's plenty of opportunity for another Batman TV series potentially to come into existence. Hopefully, my hope and my goal is that there will be a martial arts version of Batman that comes out starring Scott Adkins, I would hope. He looks the part. He's right for a martial arts role. And he knows a lot of people that make martial arts style filmmaking, including himself. I would really like to see something like that where it's kind of like fight of the week or villain fight of the week. You solve the crime and then at the end, there's a big fight scene and every week it's kind of like that. I would like that, but there's also the Dceu. So I wanted to go ahead and just do a quick lookup really quick. The Riddler BVS. So there's tons of images here that you can see where the Riddler was actually teased multiple times in Batman vs. Superman inside of the DCU. This is Ben Affleck's Batman. The Snyder Cut is coming out, although that won't technically be part of the continuity, the main continuity of the DCEU, except it does also elude that there is a possibility that Zack Snyder's vision obviously is coming to fruition. We are going to get to see that, and maybe, just maybe, the Warner Bros. May actually have confidence in DCEU once again and continue on down that path with Batman stories. Maybe Ben Affleck will come back. Obviously, doing the Batman film with all of the behind-the-scenes drama was a lot of stress for him. And he ended up stepping down off the project after they told him, you're not going to get to write the Batman. In fact, we're going to give that to somebody else completely. And now that's not even going to be part of the DCEU shared universe. He basically just got really discouraged and was like, you know what? I'm sorry. My dream was to write, direct, and star in a Batman film. And if I'm only going to get to do one of those things, it's not going to work out for me. He was polite about it when he left, but I would like to see him come back. So this has been teased, but there was no actor for Edward Nigma in the DCU. Let's go ahead and take a look at some of these picks for the Riddler. So first up, my first pick is Neil Patrick Harris. Neil Patrick Harris is 6 feet tall, 47 years old. he is a fast-talking, charming guy that also plays an intellectual or a witty kind of character quite often. In How I Met Your Mother, which I think most people are most familiar with him, that's his most famous work, I would imagine. From 2005 to 2014, he plays, again, a charming, fast-talking, you might consider like a very eccentric character. That is what the Riddler is. Now, the Riddler also is a sociopath. I mean, he's a complete sociopath, but he's highly intelligent, and his thing is he wants to demonstrate that he is the most intelligent human being on the planet. No one can outthink him. No one can outsmart him. And that's kind of the Riddler's thing. And Batman being the greatest detective, there's a game there. It's like the cat and mouse, similar to how the Joker is, but in the case of the Riddler, it's all about proving your intellectual superiority. And that's why he always goes for puzzles, mind games. It's always to try to outsmart and best the Batman in that way. I think Neil Patrick Harris will do a great job with that. I think that he'll be able to convey the eccentricness. He's really good at emoting. He's a really emotional actor, but he's also really good at playing an emotionally calloused actor or character. In A Series of Unfortunate Events, he plays a true evil figure, like a really sinister, dark, creepy character. I actually greatly enjoy that show, and he is, without a doubt, I think the best part of that show. He is absolutely despicable in it, and if you guys have seen it, you know what I'm talking about. I think that plenty of other people have seen him in this role, and you can clearly see, like, you know, a lot of other people have done art already. I don't even have to do art for him, but there is, without a doubt, plenty to go on here. And he looks great in the role. He does look very much like the classic comic book Riddler, and I think it would work and translate very nicely. You could even go for a cloth face mask if you want on the front. You could do whatever you want. I mean, glasses, no glasses. I think he'll pull off that look. He already kind of does. And you can see him even here in this Halloween costume. He did a Halloween Riddler with his family. So, to me, I think it's already been foreshadowed that he could do that role, that he would work in that role. And he apparently likes the character. Look at him walking around here as the Riddler. Pretty sweet stuff. I think that works very nicely. And I actually would go for a very classic version of the character just like this. You don't even have to have the purple question marks necessarily. Like, you could just put them on his necktie if you wanted. Just keep it really simple. Have a green suit. Something even closer to this would work for me, or this. I think this works great. But let me know what you guys think about that down below. And I have an art for you. Now, this is going to lead into my second pick, so a little bit of a spoilery drop into the next one, which is Matthew Lillard. But take a look here. Just a little bit of visual. You don't need this necessarily with where we already were. But it's also nice to see kind of a side-by-side. His face actually looks like the face of Edward Nigma from the comics, many of the comics. And so I really enjoy that. I think it works nicely. But also, I think Matthew Lillard is a great choice. So Matthew Lillard, to continue on to my second pick, is 6'4", a lot taller, but age 50. That's about 4 years older. Let me see if I got that right. 3 years older. Okay, so he's 3 years older than Neil Patrick Harris, and several inches taller, 4 inches taller. He's from Scooby-Doo, Scooby-Doo 2, SLC Punk, Scream, Without a Paddle, Good Girls, plenty of other things. He actually, again, as Shaggy, he does a really good job of playing someone that is a little bonkers, and that's, in a way, that's kind of what the Riddler is. Now, the Riddler's not off his rocker. He's highly intelligent. So the flip side to that is that Shaggy kind of plays a lovable goofball that is really hyper, really eccentric, but you keep the hyper, you keep the eccentric, but you kind of want to flip it. You want to dump the likability. Maybe actually, you don't even have to dump the likability, depending on how you want to play the character. But you have to then make him a sociopath, someone that just doesn't care about the lives that he's disrupting, harming. He's trying to prove his intellectual superiority. I think Matthew Lillard could do that. I think Matthew Lillard would be a really cool choice for that. And and I think it would look really good. So again, I want to go back to a couple of people have already done a little bit of fan art here. This would work really nicely for me. In fact, you could even go with the hat and do something similar to this style. I know his face shape isn't exactly like this, but you could make that that style work really nicely. The gloves, the hat, the cane. You could make Matthew Lillard pull that off, I think, really nicely. So let me know what you guys think about Lillard playing Edward Nigma, the Riddler, in either the DCEU or a TV series. All right, and again, back to the art that I did, just so you can take one more look at that with the hat, with the suit. It doesn't have to be like question marks everywhere. It doesn't even have to be on the hat necessarily. It could just be the hooked cane. That could be, you know, the token symbol if you want to try to get a little closer to a realism for this character, but still maintain that symbolism. I think that would work really well. All right, next up. Matthew Gray Gubler. Matthew Gray Gubler is 40 years old and 6'1". He's an American actor, filmmaker, fashion model, painter, illustrator, and author. And he is best known for his role as a criminal profiler, Dr. Spencer Reed, on the CBS television show Criminal Minds. And that, I think, if you guys have seen Criminal Minds, you've already seen that he's already kind of fit himself into that type of character. Now, we saw... what was his name? I'm sorry, I want to go back here. We've already seen Corey Michael Smith kind of play that that version in Gotham, where he was a criminal forensics scientist, or he was also involved in solving mysteries and crime in Gotham, not as a detective, but as a forensic scientist, and he was obsessed with really, really creepy, dark things. He was very numb to the death that he was seeing. They kind of really played it from a clinical perspective, like he was so cold and callous from seeing all these dead bodies in Gotham, the way that they're torn apart, breaking down the science of it, that it actually ended up working in a way that looked and felt actually kind of like a natural progression. With Matthew Gray Gubler from the show Criminal Minds, you see him get into the mind state of these characters, and you start to see him get into the thought processes of these criminals. Let me see. I want to show you guys. Also, I'm sorry. Alvin and the Chipmunks, 68 Kill, 500 Days of Summer, Life After Beth, Suburban Gothic, Alvin and the Chipmunks, and then so many more. But you see him here. A lot of people have seen his work, and then been like, gosh, he would be a really fantastic Riddler. Love to see him play him in live action. Live action Riddler for Matthew Gray Gubler would be a great thing. I think it would be such a smooth transition. He wouldn't have to do much. I mean, we've already seen him play a role that could work very nicely. You just amp up the eccentricness a little bit, and you make him a lot more wordy. You give him more things to say, more riddles. Obviously, that's no matter who you're going to do for Riddler, you've got to have the riddles. If you don't have the riddles, it's not the Riddler. To me, it's just another psychopath. But that's where I'm at. Let me know what you guys think about that down below in the comments. And Andrew Scott is from Sherlock. He plays Moriarty on BBC's TV series. Amazing series. If you guys haven't seen that, 5'8", 43 years old, from Dublin, Ireland. He's Irish, and man, this guy brought it in Sherlock. I know a lot of classic fans of the stories and the character Sherlock Holmes prefer a more classic Moriarty. Andrew Scott's version of Moriarty, for me, is the best one. I'm a movie and TV guy, so like if you were a fan of maybe perhaps the book versions and it felt different to you, that's totally valid. I appreciate that, and it's everyone's opinion of film is their own. That's fine. It's art. It's meant to be appreciated by the individuals perceiving it. However, Andrew Scott, holy cow, did he felt exactly like what I would imagine the Riddler was. He was trying to trap Sherlock in a game of wits, in mental combat, psychological warfare, and terrorizing the people of London in these psychological games. And Oh my gosh, it would be so great. It's for me, Andrew Scott is literally it's like he played the Riddler. He played British Riddler, and he's been in my mind just sitting there begging to play Edward Nigma in Gotham. It would be, you could play it the same way. It's crazy to me how he wasn't looked at. Perhaps maybe he was, but the movie never got to come to fruition in that way. But I can't believe he wasn't picked up to play the Riddler in a Batman project or any of that. I mean, we haven't really gotten any Batman projects. It's just been Justice League, and then it dropped off, and we haven't seen anything yet. So, but to me, he would be so good, so ideal. Anyway, you guys already know. If you guys have seen Sherlock, you already know. He's in so much more. But to me, that was the example of what a Riddler should be. And so Nolanverse, someone put here in the thing, it says right there, it says the Riddler in Nolanverse. So like if it was the Dark Knight, yes, he would be the perfect Riddler. But you can see him here. Someone did a quick Photoshop. Someone put a hat on here. It looks like it's sitting a little too tall off the top. But they did add some shadowing, so that's cool. I mean, it, you know, kind of blends it a little bit there. But to me, it's perfect. To me, it's a match made in heaven. I really love Andrew Scott for this. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. If you want the sadistic, maniacal genius Moriarty to translate over and play Edward Nigma in Gotham, let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. All right, next up we have Tom Cavanaugh. Tom Cavanaugh is from The Flash. He's also in Yogi Bear. He's in Ed, Tom and Grant miniseries, I think it is. Arrow as well. He's been in plenty of things, but you know him probably best from the CW verse. So from Arrow, Flash, Legends. I think he might have had an appearance in Legends of Tomorrow as well. But he started off playing the Reverse Flash in The Flash. And so to me, I think that works. It works really well because we've seen him play a variety of different characters on the Flash. He's part of, I forget what they call it. It's like, I don't know if it's like the universe of Wells or something, but basically like they did a several episodes where every season he comes back and plays another version of himself from the multiverse. And there's several episodes where a lot of him come back, and they ended up doing like 6 or 7 of them at the same time. And he's playing different personalities. And I think that he could totally nail this. I mean, he's a very talented actor with a lot of range. He's really good at playing a specific character. I liked him best in the first season when he had so much to hide. He was really secretive, very serious, overly serious. And then it turns out he was the bad guy. I really, really liked Tom Cavanaugh, especially in the first 2 seasons. And we get to see more diversity in his acting abilities as the days go on, or as the seasons go on. I meant, but 6 feet tall, 56 years old. He's right around DCEU age, I would imagine, and I would really like to see him get a chance to play a bigger character, a character in the DCEU. I mean, he played the Reverse Flash. It's hard to get bigger than the Reverse Flash, but at the same time, I do think that he would fit and work really nicely, especially seeing him as Wells when he's talking about like scientific jargon. They're just having him throw out words, and he's like pounding away on the keyboard, and then he's like yelling at someone, and then he turns back around and he's doing his thing. I've always thought like, hey, you know, like that, to me, that kind of seems like a more serious take on the Riddler without actually the riddles, you know, and so, and without expressly being a sociopath. To me, that would be really fun. I would like to see him do that. Let me know if you guys feel the same. If you think he could actually play the role of the Riddler, or if you think no, not Tom Cavanaugh, someone else. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. Maybe for a TV version of the Batman. All right, so now let me go ahead and cut back. Okay, next one up is Bill Hader. So Bill Hader from Barry, from Superbad, from It Chapter 2, Trainwreck, The Skeleton Twins, Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs, Inside Out, Hot Rod. This guy is freaking phenomenal. 6 feet 1 inch, 42 years old. He's slightly younger, but he does feel like he could be malleable as far as age goes. Like if he's going up against someone that's 50, you could make him look 50. I mean, just put a little bit more gray in his hair. He's played plenty of older guys on Saturday Night Live, and he does a really amazing job at it, especially that older guy that has the microphone that's always like, what'd you say? And he bonks the microphone with the on people's faces and stuff. The guy is he's a character actor like I've never seen before. He's so good. He's amazing. And his impressions are off the freaking charts. He's one of the best. And I think he would do a really good job playing the Riddler. So, again, there wasn't a lot of art for him except for this one here. And I'll zoom in on that in just a minute so you can see that. There's actually a better, more clear version of this image. I know it looks like it's loading and it's still blurry, but I'll fix that in just a second. This one here, I think this is him in the Skeleton Twins. Like he's walking around like with his arms like straight at his sides. Plays a really disturbed character. And then again, it flashes over here to the Arkham Knight, an Arkham game series version of Edward Nigma. I think it actually does look a good deal like him. Slightly different nose. I mean, it's more like long and pointy in this image here. But you could go for this version right here. You know, just keying away, like creating nasty traps for Batman in his lair or his dungeon or whatever. Just some absolute, you know, psycho genius, too smart for his own good, you know, that kind of thing. I really would love to see Bill Hader play that. I think he'd do a really good job. Let me know what you guys think about Bill Hader for the Riddler down below in the comments. And here, and here is the art for that by BFH Begin. Oh no, Design. I'm sorry, BFH Design. I don't know how to find that, but I'm sure we can Google that. Bill Hader, look at this art. I really like that. You can see that. It's got that cane action going on right there, the glasses and the hat. This one to me makes him look a little bit more of like a kind of a stalkery creep, but I can get down with that version too. But the Arkham one to me, I think for Bill Hader would work the best. All right, Matt Smith for the Riddler. He's going to be in Doctor Who. Or I'm sorry, he's already in Doctor Who. He was in The Crown, is in The Crown. Morbius, he's going to be in. Terminator Genesis, he was in. Pride and Prejudice and Zombies, he was in. And Charlie Says, Official Secrets, Patient Zero, and plenty of others. Matt Smith is 6 feet tall, 37 years old. So he's more on the younger side, even younger than, for instance, Bill Hader by a few years. He's a really talented guy. I think if you were going to go with a Riddler that is, he could pull off sociopathic. I think for him it would be better done closer to the way that Gotham did their version, where you see a steady character progression from, you know, a weird, quirky, really, really intelligent, too smart for his own good kind of guy, and then slowly just sink lower and lower into, you know, personal victim status, and then dropping completely into, you know what, screw the world. I think Matt Smith would be one that is easily humanized, kind of in the way that Joaquin Phoenix's Joker was, like where you see him struggling as a victim first, and then he transforms into a straight cold-blooded killer. I think this would be the way I would go with Matt Smith personally, because I think the way that he plays characters, he is actually quite relatable. You're able to connect with him, empathize with him really well, and I think he would play that kind closer to the Gotham version. Even though the Gotham version quickly devolved into you know, a real sick guy, I think that you would actually be able to play a much more empathetic version, you know, someone that was more relatable. And I think that this version of the Riddler, if I had to go with a version like that, personally, I would think Matt Smith would be the guy to do it, because he could still pull off, you know, the maybe a lighter eccentricness, but really, really intelligent planner, strategist, nerd. I think he could do all of that. And I really like the way that this image here does make him still feel like a regular person and not a total creep. And so that to me would be where I would want to go if it was Matt Smith. But let me know what you guys think about this down below. Do you think, no, man, he could totally do anything that Andrew Scott could do? Or do you personally feel, you know what, maybe they would want to play him a little bit softer, someone that is like more relatable, closer to the early parts of Gotham before the full transition into Riddler? Let me know what you think down below in the comments. And here's this close-up of this art. Also, this one's by The Ginger Artist. Really, really cool art. I really like this one. Let me know what you guys think down below. All right, next up, we've got James McAvoy. James McAvoy is one of the best actors alive. If you guys haven't seen Split, if you haven't seen X-Men First Class, Glass, X-Men Days of Future Past, this guy is a beast. And he does, at one point or another, in Split and Glass, play a beast. He's phenomenal. He can literally do anything you want him to do. There really isn't, I don't think there's anything that you could want him to do he couldn't do as an actor. Tremendous, amazing character acting, very good at switching between character personas. Not that you have to do that with the Riddler, but just that he would have zero problems playing someone like the Riddler, in my opinion. I think he would be a great choice. He actually looks a great deal like the Riddler. I think he is he's a Scottish actor, but there's no doubt in my mind he would be able to pull anything off as far as acting goes. I want to cut over it. Let me just see. 41 years, 5'7", a little bit shorter, but that's not a big deal because the Riddler doesn't. He's not bound to height or size. Like, you don't have to have someone smaller or larger for the Riddler. He's been kind of depicted in a happy middle for a very long time. So going shorter is not going to hurt anything. Going a little taller is not going to hurt anything. His abilities, his strength is intelligence, intellect, and intelligence. That is where James McAvoy would definitely be able to shine. And there's plenty of fan casting and art for this. So you can see here, this is basically an exact kind of like crossover overlaying his face, the goggles onto his face from the Arkham Knight version. And I flipping love it. I love everything about this casting, this idea. Man, I would want a movie dedicated straight up to the Riddler. I wouldn't want any secondary villains. I mean, you could have like some of the gangs of Gotham, that sort of thing, but I wouldn't even need anybody else in that film. It could just be Batman and the Riddler, and he's tearing up Gotham, and James McAvoy would be able to crush that. I would love it so much. Let me know what you guys think about that down below in the comments. And here is the zoom in on, I think this is Instagram. It says @G_Renzo for this art. It is a beautiful piece of art, and it is very easy with this art to see the kind of Riddler you could get with James McAvoy. Not that you would get, not that you will get, but that you could get with James McAvoy. Let me know what you think in the comments. All right, and next up we have Jim Parsons, who is 6'1", 47 years old. You guys know him from The Big Bang Theory, also from Young Sheldon. He's been in the show Hollywood since 2020, and Judging Amy. He was also in Hidden Figures, Home. There is one that I think he did a really good job in, is Extremely Wicked, Shockingly Evil, and Vile. That was the story about, let me see if I can find this. Forgot the name. This was about Ted Bundy. So this is the Zac Efron film about Ted Bundy. And I truly thought that he had a small role as a lawyer, but to me, whenever I see like a lawyer and they're presenting their case and they're really laying out a lot of defense and they're going over a lot quickly, to me that also translates nicely to a hyper intelligent figure, which we've seen him play in the Big Bang Theory. I really like Jim Parsons. From what I've seen him in a few things. I've seen The Big Bang Theory. I've seen Hidden Figures. I've seen Home, and Extremely Wicked, Shockingly Evil, and Vile. I think he was great in every single thing I've seen him in, and I think he could play that hyper-intelligent sociopathic character just like we see him do in The Big Bang Theory. It's actually quite close as a translation, except for the inherent evil and the inherent, I guess, neutrality. He's not necessarily even good, but he's neutral in the Big Bang Theory. But you could just lean that towards evil and have him go against Batman. It'd be sick. So, plenty of art. Again, this one's with the top hat. You can see some side-by-side comparisons. I don't personally like this one because it doesn't look at all comparable, but you can see like the idea behind it is that, oh, this guy should play this guy. I do, however, love this art, and I do, however, love this. This, to me, is a brilliant piece of artwork. Bazinga. Let me go ahead and show you guys a close-up of this. Not a ton of art, so I'm going to stick to this one here, but I want you guys to just take a gander at this and let me know if you guys think you could see Jim Parsons from The Big Bang Theory playing perhaps the DCEU Riddler and or a TV version. Let me know what you guys think about this in the comments. And to number 10, let's go Simon Pegg. Simon Pegg is 5'10", 50 years old, and he's an English actor, comedian, screenwriter, producer, and most importantly, a big nerd. He's been in Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz, The World's End, Spaced, Mission Impossible, Paul, Star Trek, and plenty of others. Ready Player One, Star Wars, The Force Awakens, Star Trek Into Darkness, Adventures of Tintin. This guy's a big nerd. Like, you can see his resume, and he's been in a lot of movies, lots of comedies, but he's played people, in my opinion, that would be a fair comparison. It's not very hard. As an actor, one of the funnest things you can do is to be an evil person. It's fun because you almost get to just release that tension, that emotional tension that's built perhaps if you don't have proper outlets in your life. You can, and I know this because I went to acting school. I've had some experience with acting. I've done like some commercials and music videos and stuff in the past, in the last like 6 years. And it's a lot of fun. It's really, really fun to get to play a character that you don't typically get to play in society. And I think Simon Pegg is talented enough. He's such an amazing actor. I think that him playing a villain would just be fun. It would be a really, really fun thing. I think he looks the part. I'm going to go ahead and show you guys. There's a couple of comparisons. Again, people use this image as a comparison. Again, not my favorite because not a lot of people look like this. But and I like the aesthetic to kind of show off what people are thinking. So to me, like, I like this art here, and I don't know if there's more. This is him in Star Trek. I think he was playing the Doctor there, if I'm not mistaken. Or not the Doctor, the engineer. Let me see. But yeah, I could totally see him playing the Riddler. Again, not a lot of fan art, but I really like what's going on here. So this is the close-up of that one. To me, this would be the closest thing to the Frank Gorshin version. If you were to do Simon Pegg, it would feel like the 1960s Batman Riddler with Adam West. That was played by Frank Gorshin. I believe Sean Astin's father, I can't remember what his name is, but it's Astin is the last name. Sean Astin's father also played the Riddler. I believe he took over after Frank Gorshin, if I'm not mistaken. It could be the other way around. I thought though that Frank Gorshin was the first one. So if I were going to do Simon Pegg, I would play it a lot closer to the Frank Gorshin version, just with modern technology, you know, and make him a computer nerd that also has that same kind of vibe, because I think Simon Pegg would play that really well. Like, you can see him here, eyes wide open, looking really like intense. That to me is a good way to lean in to Simon Pegg, because that could also, you could also have fun with the comedic aspect of someone that is a sociopath, that's kind of off their rocker, but also still extremely intelligent. I would love to see that version played by Simon Pegg. Now, that is my number 10. I have 5 bonus picks for you guys today. So my first bonus pick that I wanted to go for here is Eddie Redmayne. So if you guys, I know a lot of people, especially in the fan casting community, are big fans of Eddie Redmayne. He is talented, no doubt. He's not my favorite, though, so I didn't want to put him on my top 10, but I wanted to put him there for you guys. I know you guys are big fans of Eddie Redmayne. And I saw Fantastic Beasts. I haven't seen much of his work. In fact, I haven't seen most of his work. But I did see Fantastic Beasts, and I thought he was pretty good in that. I wasn't like wowed or anything. To me, it was good. It was pretty cool, but I didn't feel a strong connection with him as much as I felt a strong connection to the sidekick, the shorter, stout guy with the black mustache. That guy, to me, in that movie was like the one that stood out. I thought Eddie Redmayne was like good, but I didn't feel like a strong connection. I'm sure that some of this other stuff, the Theory of Everything, or the Danish Girl or whatever, when I get around to seeing those, I'm sure that I'll have a stronger connection. So don't judge me too much on my lack of enthusiasm. It's just that I haven't gotten that kind of experience with Eddie Redmayne, but everybody else seems to love him. So I'm sure it's just something I'm missing. But anyway, I added him here for the bonus because I knew that was probably the case. And I didn't want my ignorance to keep him off the list. So 38 years old, 6 feet tall. I will say that on an aesthetics basis, he looks good for the Riddler. I mean, like, to me, this image here may not look the same to you, but if you have the proper makeup to give him this kind of grungy look, you put that 5 o'clock shadow on his face and let his hair get all greasy and unkept, and you just like black out his eyes, like, he would look exactly like the Arkham version. In my estimation, I think he would look exactly like the Arkham version, but you could also turn around and have him play the version that was like in Gotham. This to me looks almost identical to the Gotham version. So you could go either way with someone like Eddie Redmayne. And from what I've seen, from what I've heard, he is versatile. Again, I haven't seen much of his work, so I'm going off of your guys' feedback to me, because I check out all your guys' fan casts, and he seems to get a lot of attention here. So I wanted to give some love to Eddie Redmayne and put him on the list. But you guys tell me, because I'm the one here that hasn't seen most of his work. I've seen him in Fantastic Beasts, and I thought he was pretty good. Not the most like dynamic character ever, but was fun and enjoyable. Let me know what you guys think about this, because I do think aesthetically he looks really good for the role of Riddler. No matter how you want to play him, this one feels like Frank Gorshin. This one here feels like the Gotham version, and this one is the Arkham Knight version. I freaking love the versatility just on looks alone, because aesthetics mean a lot to me. Aesthetics mean a great deal when it comes to filmmaking, when it comes to costume design, when it comes to makeup, when it comes to just the presentation in general. It's gotta look good. And to me, with comics, good isn't always the most serious and furthest away from the comics. To me, it actually is how you can adapt the comics to still work in real life without giving up the iconicness of the classic versions. I think this works. I would personally like to see him. I mean, he's younger here. It might work out in the DCEU, but I think Eddie Redmayne would do really well in a Batman TV series, maybe on HBO Max or something like that, up against Scott Adkins. I think it'd work great. So let me know what you guys think down below in the comments. And the close-up here is this by JP Designs. Really sick art here. And you can see, like, he put it looks like a button or something right down there on the arm of the chair. Or maybe it was just a highlight. But I really like that. So let me know what you think. And my next bonus pick is Jesse Eisenberg. Now, the reason he's in the bonus is, just as you guessed already, he's already playing Lex Luthor in the DCEU. The problem, though, the reason why I put him on this list is because every single person who watches the DCEU Batman v Superman Batman v Superman, you see Jesse Eisenberg, and you see the way that he plays Lex in BVS, and it feels like the Riddler. It does not feel like Lex Luthor. It feels like the young, spoiled brat version of Lex Luthor that might be a version we'd see in real life today, which is what Zack Snyder's vision for the DCEU was. He wanted a much closer to realistic take on these fantastical ideas from comic book origin. He wanted to try to put them into real world scenarios that were hard to face intellectually, morally, that sort of thing, and then see them progress. We never got to see them progress, but we will now that the Snyder Cut's coming out. Jesse Eisenberg can and probably will continue in the DCEU. I hope that he does get to do it, and I hope that they are able to move Lex Luthor into a direction that is progressing closer towards comic book Lex. I hope. But if you wanted to perhaps reboot or do a different series, I really think that Jesse Eisenberg, like everyone else in the world who saw Batman vs. Superman, is saying, is that Jesse Eisenberg basically played the Riddler in the film, and he should get a chance to play the actual Riddler, Edward Nigma, in a Batman film or TV series. I think he's right for the role. I think it would have been a better casting to put him as the Riddler instead of Lex Luthor. That's why he wasn't part of my 1 through 10. He's part of my bonus 5. And I think that whether or not it does get recast, I still hope we see him again. But I think it would be a benefit to anybody who would be willing to give him a second chance in a different character, because every single role that Jesse Eisenberg plays, he's kind of playing himself, and he himself is basically the Riddler. He's a hyper, talks and thinks faster than the rest of the world, doesn't give a rip. He kind of does come across as a sociopath in almost every movie he's been in. So to me, I really think he would be right for the Riddler. And he wouldn't have to change a dang thing from the way that he performs in anything else, really. So to me, Jesse Eisenberg, if he ever got the chance, would be a good choice for that. And if not, we'll hopefully see him again in a future DCU project as Lex Luthor. So let me know what you think about that down below in the comments. Before we go on, I wanted to just show you that this is the art that people were thinking. This is a scene from Batman vs. Superman. And again, of course, everyone who saw Batman vs. Superman was like, that's not Lex, that's the Riddler. So, you know, like the character identity was completely swapped, and it's like, okay, he's playing himself. I get that. They totally changed the Lex Luthor version. Maybe we'll get to see this version of Lex as opposed to the one on the right, but to me it feels like Lex. It feels like the Riddler. So that's the thought there. Let me know what you think down below. There's the close-up. All right, next up, Michael Emerson. Now, the reason why Michael Emerson is in this list in the bonus list as opposed to the top 10, what for me was due to age. 65 years, a little bit older than most of the options I would prefer for the Riddler. That doesn't detract from the fact that he would be literally perfect. I think that Michael Emerson is, 5'8" is not a big deal. Again, we talked about, I don't think there's any reason why height should factor into the choice for the Riddler, unless the person is distractingly short. Like if he's like 5'3" or 5'4", that to me is perhaps too short, because now you're getting into like penguin territory, or if you're going for a short penguin. So again, that's just not a trait that is typical of the Riddler, but he's a perfect middle height, a little bit on the shorter side, but that's okay. He doesn't have to be physically intimidating. Person of Interest, I thought was a great depiction for him playing the Riddler. I mean, in Person of Interest, he's significantly more empathetic of humans. He cares about people. There's a beautiful episode where they're like taking care of a baby, and Jim Caviezel's in there. Actually, Jim Caviezel to me seems like he could be playing Batman. So that would be a really cool choice there. But also, Michael Emerson being the Riddler would be like the antithesis to that, the intellectual rival. So I think that would work really well. Another thing to note is that his character on what's it called? Did he already play? Hang on. I want to see if he already played the Riddler. Hold up. Hang on, I got to see this real quick. You guys go with me on this for 1 second. I just wanted to see. No, Michael Emerson played the Joker in that one. Okay, so that must have been what it was. That's what I thought. I was like, I didn't remember him playing the Riddler. Okay, yeah, so he played the Joker in that one, which is fine. But I think he would be a good Riddler. His persona, just the way that he talks and interacts with people, seems very cold, very callous. And he, in Lost, for instance, was actually very cold, callous, deceptive. He's a manipulator. He's a genius. His role in Lost and his role in Person of Interest and his role on Arrow are all incredibly similar to the Riddler that I would want for him. And again, I think other people have seen this as well. So you can see him here. Some people have photoshopped these glasses on here. I don't think this is a particularly great Photoshop. It's really funny, actually. This one here, this gif of him kind of turning around is like, this would be Riddler explaining the trap that Batman just fell into. I really like this one. Him playing kind of like a intellectual hacker version, just like he did on Arrow. His role on Arrow was literally basically that. So, and this is, again, this might have been from Arrow, this clip of him, but I think that is actually him from Lost. I can't tell where this clip is from. I think it might be either Arrow or Lost. But anyway, to me, Michael Emerson is a great choice for that. Older, yes, but still really good. Cold, calculating, manipulative. He's played it all, and I think he's good for the role. So let me know what you guys think about Michael Emerson down below in the comments. Next up, probably the one that most people have been waiting for, is David Tennant. So David Tennant, I'm sure that, and I haven't checked the comments yet, I'd be willing to bet there's at least 3 of those in there, people talking about David Tennant. David Tennant is 6'1", 49 years old, and he's been in Doctor Who, Broadchurch, Good Omens, Jessica Jones, Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire, Grace Point, Bad Samaritan, DuckTales, and plenty of other things. In his role in Jessica Jones, he plays, I think it's Mr. Purple, if I'm not mistaken. I really do think that he has certainly what it takes to play a genius. He has certainly what it takes to play a villain, and he certainly has what it takes to play eccentric. Putting those 3 together should not be very hard for this amazing, talented man. I put him in here primarily because I do think that I prefer what I'm looking at with 1 through 10, not necessarily over David Tennant, but there's so many choices I wanted to lay out here, and I knew that everybody else wanted him. So I wasn't ignoring him because everybody wanted him, but I knew that he's already got so much love on this, and I could just throw him into the bonus just at the end for you guys anyway, that David Tennant clearly, out of any other actor suggestion, has the most fan art. I mean, just look at this. David Tennant as the Riddler, yes, that looks amazing. This one, yes, it looks amazing. That one's by William Gray. Yes, this one looks amazing. Yes, this also looks fan-freaking-tastic. Yes, this one to me is the best because he looks exactly like, it's almost as if he was the model for the Arkham Knight version. And for me, that would have to take the cake, is him as the Arkham Knight version. This one here, you also have this one. I mean, just look, there's so many art pieces. And what this should go to show is that most people agree. I mean, I think he is the most wanted person to play the Riddler out of anybody. So you can see just on sheer numbers alone how many people want David Tennant to get this role. And I, for one, agree. I think that he is great in this. He has everything that it would take to be this character. I would like to see him in the DCU up against like a Ben Affleck or whoever is going to maybe replace Ben Affleck if he's not able to come back to the DCEU. But just let me know what you guys think down below in the comments. David Tennant, heck yes, or heck maybe, or heck no. I don't even know if heck maybe is even a thing, but you guys tell me. And lastly, I have one more pick for you guys before we go to the comments. Let's take a look at Stephen Amell. Now, one thing you guys should know, Stephen Amell was at a time campaigning to play the Riddler. He was actually asking and suggesting that a lifelong, or maybe not lifelong, but a long time goal of his was to play the Riddler. He really wanted a chance to play a character, a villainous character like the Riddler that is more intellectual, outside of the physical brute character that he is playing on Arrow, who is also a strategic mastermind, but in the sense of genius, he is not. He would go from playing someone like Oliver Queen to playing basically male Felicity Smoke. That would be kind of the direction you would be going, except for without the weird and awkward quirkiness. You'd have to get into eccentricness and cold-blooded sociopath. That would have to be the direction you go in. Now, I do think that Stephen Amell could make that happen. I've never seen him play a character like that, though. So for me, that would be very, very different. Playing him on The Flash, on Arrow, Code 8, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Supergirl, of course. I've seen him play I've seen him play very little diversity in character and character identity. To me, it doesn't tell me immediately that he can definitively do it. But he says he wants to do it, and I think, hey, it actually could work. If it depends on how you play it. I've never seen him play that kind of fast-talking character before. Even when he was Casey Jones in the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, to me, that didn't feel super different from his version of Arrow. It was less serious. It was more fun. As far as the character seemed like he was enjoying himself, which is something we don't see Oliver Queen do. But Oliver Queen is basically like the Dark Knight. Casey Jones is more upbeat, kind of a punk, a jock, just a meathead. Neither of those are what we really want for the Riddler. I don't doubt that Stephen Amell could bring himself to that role. But again, this puts into question, does he want the role because he wants to expand the way that people see him? Because clearly, I think that he has not been able to present himself in many different kinds of roles. And I think that's probably what he's looking to do, is like, hey, I really do want to show you guys I can do more than just the kind of character you guys see me as. I guess it's just like actors just trying to break out of typecast or whatever. To me, I'm not concerned about typecast or breaking out of typecast. I think he could do it. I'm not 100% sure. You guys be the judge. You tell me what you think about bonus pick number 5, 15 altogether. That's all 15 of my character castings. Let me know what you guys think about that down below in the comments. And here are just a couple of side-by-side comparison images. Not a lot of art to go on, but just showing that he did want that. And there's plenty of links you can find. If you just Google Stephen Amell Riddler, you'll find the articles where he's discussing that. I think he might have even said it in a video if you want to look for that. So go ahead and check that out for yourself. Let me take some comments before we get going, because if you guys have any suggestions, I want to be able to reflect those here in the video. All right. AJ Reacts 2. What's up, my dude? He says, what's up, Daniel? Not much, my man. I'm just out here with the family in the Bay Area, and hoping that the lockdowns continue to loosen up. We don't want them to tighten. We want them to open back up so that people can get back to work and get back to their lives. That's the best case scenario. And I hope that everyone is doing really well on the live streams out there on the interwebs on the other side of the screen. I hope wherever you are, you guys are doing great. And same for you, AJ. Love your channel. Everyone go check out AJ Reacts 2. He has the best reaction channel, reaction videos, even reviews of music, video games, TV, trailers, shows, movies, that sort of thing. Check him out. He's awesome. Great bud. And then we've got more comments here. Daniel's Hot Topic says, Neil Patrick Harris or Johnny Depp as the Riddler. Johnny Depp is an interesting choice here. Let's go ahead and take a look at that. I would love to pull that up. Hold on. Johnny Depp is an interesting character. He is quite eccentric. He's really weird. Oh yeah, there does appear to be quite a bit of fan art here. I actually think, from my opinion, that Johnny Depp does not look like the Riddler. If you were to shave him clean like he is up here, he still, to me, doesn't look like the Riddler. I think you can make him look like the Riddler. Visually to me, and I think vocally, it doesn't really work all too well, in my opinion. But he is very good at eccentric. He's very good at weird. We've all seen him play Jack Sparrow, and I think that would lend itself nicely to the character. So if you wanted to do a drastically different take, I think that this could work. And then let's just see Johnny Depp. What is it? Movies and TV shows. Now, again, he did play Willy Wonka from Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, and to me, that's another example of someone who is eccentric, smarter than they let on, arguably a complete sociopath. I mean, at times he is empathetic to the children, but at times it's like, what in the world are you doing? This is basically child abuse. So, and then, of course, Sweeney Todd, Edward Scissorhands, and more, Alice in Wonderland. I think Johnny Depp is really good at playing weird characters, and there's no doubt that the Riddler is a weird character. He can play fast talker, hyper intelligent. That can work. He can do that. He is. Let me see. It doesn't say. Oh, he's 57 years old, which works. That works just fine. It doesn't say his height here, but that's all right. We don't need that. To me, I think he would be lower on my list, but he could also work. So if the top 15 actors can't make it, I would go with him as a 16th. So that's kind of how I see Johnny Depp. But there is also another casting choice from Daniel's Hot Topics, and that is Leonardo DiCaprio. So Leonardo DiCaprio. Oops, spelled that wrong. Okay, so Leonardo DiCaprio is a really good actor. He plays a lot of different kinds of roles. I haven't seen him play someone that is super, like a hyper intelligent kind of guy. The Wolf of Wall Street, I guess you could make that argument from Inception as well. It would be a different take, I think, especially when you have an actor that is so high profile that when you see them, it's like you're remembering everything they've been in. Leonardo DiCaprio is kind of an icon more than just an actor. So to me, it would maybe take me out of that experience a little bit, because I'd be like, hey, it's Leo. But at the same time, I'm sure that people could get past that if he's delivering a crazy good role. A great performance, I mean. So 45 years old, 6 feet tall. He is what I'm looking for physically. I think that looks wise, a little bit different than what I would go for, but let me see. The Riddler. But he does look good for this. So if you're going to do this one, like slick back hair, the hat, the mask, I think that would look really nice. Other people have apparently fan cast him because there's plenty of other images here. This is funny. I'm a fan of the Val Kilmer, Jim Carrey Riddler film, but I'm also not the biggest fan of Jim Carrey's Riddler, because to me he felt like he could have been playing the Joker, and that would have been maybe a better version. He was quippy with the riddles, but it felt to me more like he should have been playing the Joker. And that's just, that's just my opinion of that casting. But I do think that it would work nicely. I think this works better to me than the Johnny Depp. I really do like Leonardo DiCaprio, and I think he looks more like the role, like many of the depictions of the role. So Leonardo DiCaprio would have my vote between the two of those guys. Let me go ahead and take another one here. The Spider-Man Show. What's up, dude? He says David Tennant for the Riddler. Yep, dude, you have no idea how many people want David Tennant for the Riddler. That is without a doubt, the most popular fan cast for the character. And Daniel's Hot Topic says Thomas Jane 2004 Punisher versus Netflix Punisher. Who would win in a fight? Ooh, that's a tough question. Gosh, that's crazy. I don't know, man. I want to say Thomas Jane. It's tough. Between the two of them, I actually like John Bernthal better. I personally like the newer version more. I love John Bernthal. I loved how he did Punisher, and I love that they introduced him first into Daredevil, gave him that whole series to have development, then started his origin to give further explanation in his season 1. So it was like season 1 was on the Daredevil. Then they gave him his own season 1, then season 2. So he had kind of a trilogy of seasons, except for only 2 of them were labeled the Punisher. I might go with, if they're fighting to the death, maybe Thomas Jane. I might say Thomas Jane, but I like John Bernthal better. So that's my thought. So then Spider-Man Show says, heck yes. Daniel's Hot Topic says, OMG, happy summer 2020. Oh yeah, it's summer, isn't it? Happy summer, everybody. I hope you guys are staying cool out there. Daniel's Hot Topic says, when do you think Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, is that like, do you mean like it'll come out? Like when will it come out? I think I saw a pic that Emergency Awesome showed a pic on one of his vids that at the very end, it looks like Doctor Strange and Wanda were fighting. And it looks like they were facing off, so I'm confused. Will they start filming, or have they started a little bit before this pandemic? I bet you they already started shooting. I mean, to me, I don't know as a fact, but I'd be willing to bet they already started shooting, and I'd be willing to bet that they might actually be shooting now. I don't think that they're going to avoid working on everything if they can. I think they're going to find a way to make it work where it's like there's plenty of scenes that are green screen they can do in a film studio, on a sound stage. They can make a lot of that happen in a way that is like up to code or regulations during this pandemic or whatever. Anything they can get away with doing, they will do. It's a business. They're not trying to lose money. And it's already invested money. So they're just waiting for that return, People have lost money on this until they get that return, and then hopefully they'll make it back, make more back. That's the goal. So I think that they probably already started shooting. I bet you anything they did. There's no doubt in my mind that Wanda and Doctor Strange will fight in Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. They will fight. They won't be enemies. They're either going to start with a fight and then work together against another villain, or they're going to start on the same team, and it's going to devolve into a Multiverse of Madness that is going to maybe. Hang on, I gotta kill this. Like there's a fly or something. I didn't get it. Hopefully, it doesn't come back. But I think they're gonna start. I think they're gonna start as chaotic enemies. There's going to be a fight in the middle of the movie between the two of them when Wanda's really trying to get a grasp on her powers, but starts to delve too far into her powers, splinters the multiverse, and then Doctor Strange has to kind of like keep her in check. That results in a fight. They calm down, and a bigger threat comes. Then by the end, they're still on the same side. And then the multiverse is still splintered, and that's what I think is going to happen. I don't think that movie is going to end well. It might end with character resolution as far as like furthering the development of Wanda, furthering the development and the necessity of Doctor Strange, but it's also going to end with a splintered multiverse. It's going to start with a big problem that's going to ruin the multiverse. It's going to work out in a way that it continues to fracture that, and then I don't think it's going to get repaired. I think they're going to leave it fractured. So that's kind of what I think. In fact, there might be harmful bridges between all the multiverse films, which will then allow mutants to cross over if that's how they want to do it. I don't think it's necessary. You guys probably seen my videos on mutants in the MCU already existing, or mutants in the MCU explained. They already are in the MCU. They don't need a multiverse to make that happen, but I think they will use a multiverse maybe for some awesome crossovers like Hugh Jackman's Wolverine or Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man, or we might see classic Blade show up, or a great plethora of others might occur. I think it'll work, and I think it'll be fun. I think it'll be chaos. It'll be dark, but it's going to be a wild ride, and I think it'll actually do really well. I think it'll do better than Doctor Strange 1. All right. Let's take a look. What was the last thing? Daniel's Hot Topic says, Kevin Feige just came out and said that Netflix shows are not canon. That's sad. I hope that does not include Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I've been saying this for a while, that even though they started as canon together, they did not end as canon together. it was very clear in the direction and storytelling of the shows and the fact that they never crossed back over that Kevin Feige never wanted those shows to be made the way they were. Kevin Feige wanted all of those properties to himself, and he didn't have them. They were given to him by Alan Horn, given to the Marvel Television Division, so they could make more TV shows and have more profit coming in from different places, from ABC, from Netflix, all those different deals, Hulu. They wanted more and more and more content at the same time, and Kevin Feige couldn't do all of that at the same time at the time. Now, they have a Marvel Studios television branch, which is under Kevin Feige's banner, which is why they're absorbing all the other content underneath one banner, but they will destroy it. I think I'm not very hopeful for Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. as far as canon. I think they're going to splinter that off into the multiverse, and I think that's one of the reasons why they're going to use Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness to splinter the multiverse so all the other shows and properties can technically exist without being part of the main universe continuity and timeline. It's going to be basically like the DC TV crossover from the CW universe, which happened this last December. Everything was canonized. Smallville, the show Lucifer, the 1960s Batman, Michael Keaton, like everything you can imagine was canonized from DC projects from the dawn of DC comics until now. Everything was made canon in this multiversal crossover. And basically they said, we're going to kill off some of these universes, but we're also going to bring them back, and we're going to leave these very vague comments at the beginning and the end of the series that is going to say, every universe that exists also exists multiplied by infinity, which means that even though they destroyed the 1960s Batman universe, there's also an infinite number of those universes out there with very, very, very subtle differences within that universe. So it's not really gone. I mean, Adam West is probably still alive in those universes, so it doesn't make a difference. I mean, it's a fun way to like rope them in and bring back some old actors and have some fun in that way and get fans excited, which it totally did. I love that. I think they're going to do that with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. though, and I think they're going to do that with all the shows on Hulu. I think they're going to do that with all the Netflix shows. They're going to make them multiversal canon, which means they're going to put them into an alternate universe, tuck that away forever, and we never get to see them again. That's kind of what I think is going to happen. They might even keep Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. running as a series because it's so successful. But it won't be canon. It'll be multiversal canon. And that I think will be a disappointment for a lot of fans. But at the same time, it's doing well right now, and they haven't had to cross over. I hope that they work within their means. I hope they bring back characters that they do have the rights to. Like, for instance, they were able to use some of the Inhumans. They were able to use... what's his name? Absorbing Man, which is awesome. I hope they do that again. In fact, I hope they make him a main hero. I hope they make him a big character in ongoing stories. That would be great. I hope they don't stop at season 7. I hope they continue on. That's my hope, because it's really good stuff. So next up, we see Daniel's Hot Topic says, this is how I would write it. It starts with Doctor Strange in the Sanctum Sanctorum. All of a sudden, Nightmare and Mephisto show up, and one or both throw Doctor Strange in the multiverse, and he gets lost. Doctor Strange is lost in the multiverse, and he has to find his way back, and he leaps from Earth to Earth, trying to find his way back to the MCU. MCU Earth, which is 199999, hoping that the next will be the leap home. The only way I think that might be the case is if he somehow loses his ability to scan the multiverse. So keep in mind, when he was in Endgame, and Infinity War, towards the end, and he was flipping through like a psycho, like that whole thing. And then he's like, cross-legged, he's doing this, and all that stuff. And then he snaps out of it and he's like, a billion, whatever, multiverses are out there and we only want in one of them. He scanned through the multiverse. He was able to see all of them. I don't think it would be very hard for him to get back unless, like the famous quote from the Dunharrow King in Lord of the Rings, "The way is shut." it was made by those who are dead, and the dead keep it. So, like, if, for instance, Mephisto threw him into the multiverse and then shut the door and was like, you know, casting spells and stuff, and like, hey, man, you're not allowed to get back here. Or we're going to make you lost. Or they concuss him and he's not thinking clearly. That's one way to do it. I don't think that's how they're going to do it, though. I would be surprised if that's how they do it. Because, to me, that would make it a really weird thing bringing Wanda into the mix, because I think the whole point is he is going to help Wanda get control of her powers, because if he doesn't and if she can't, the multiverse is completely at risk. Not just our universe, but every universe is completely at risk because of Wanda's power. So to me, that's the mission, I think. Not just to get back home, but what's going on with Wanda. And I do think it'll have something to do with either Nightmare, Mephisto, or both. I think we may see those. I think Mephisto might show up in Loki, possibly, but we'll find out. Or Mephisto could be the villain of Thor 4. We don't even know. It could be Christian Bale. Anyway, let me go ahead and take this. So Doctor Strange probably goes to Thomas Jane Punisher universe, maybe even runs into him, and then he jumps to Nicolas Cage Ghost Rider universe. Maybe he runs into him, and maybe he leaps to Wesley Snipes. He leaps to Wesley Snipes universe. Maybe Doctor Strange is fighting vampires in that universe, and Wesley Snipes. Blade shows up and helps him out. You know what? That would be like the cameo film of the century. If he just went to all the old Marvel movies, you might as well go to the old Fantastic Four movies as well, and see Chris Evans as the Human Torch, and then even go further back than that, and you could see the old one. What was it, back in the 90s? That was made in the mid 90s or something like that. You could do a lot there. I don't know that that's likely, but it is possible, given that Sam Raimi is going to be the one directing, and you know, there's plenty of old Marvel history with Sam Raimi, of course. So not likely, but would be awesome. Daniel's Hot Topic says, Daniel, remember when we were talking about Gravitron and the Marvel cast, is Gravitron dead? Wait, in the Marvel cast, is Gravitron dead, or do you think he will return? The last time we saw him, he was in orbit. I don't think he's dead. I mean, he could come back. He could 100% come back. Anyone in the Marvel universe can come back. There really is not a lot of permanent death when you factor in multiverse, when you factor in time travel, when you factor in certain people's ability to heal, when you factor in the fact that people in space might have found him and kept him alive before it was too late. Graviton is extremely powerful. He can't breathe in space necessarily, I don't think, but he may have been able to survive. Sometimes in comic book writing, if someone's powerful enough, they can survive basically anything, just because the comic books are going to need them back soon. So that's kind of what I think. Anyways, that's awesome. We had a lot of comments here. I'm going to go ahead and cut this video because I don't want it to run too long. It's a fan casting video after all. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you guys don't mind, please do me one more solid before you take off. Check the link in my link tree in the description of this video and go to my merch store. This is going to be a way that you guys can get you can get yourself some really awesome, super sick, nerdy merch that I made myself as far as I did the designs, and you can get them printed on these merch items, whether it's a t-shirt like the one I'm wearing. You can get a sweater, hoodie, mug, pin, laptop case, phone case, stickers, wall art, magnets. You can even get masks so that you can shop at Target during this pandemic. Which I think is technically and legally the only technical reason. But nevertheless, there's plenty of different designs here. Your favorite Captain America actors. Bet you didn't know that Arthur Pierce played Captain America, Dick Purcell, or Matt Salinger. Bet you only knew about Chris Evans. Boyka Batman. Make Scott Adkins Batman. Martial arts Batman. We've got Battinson Batman logos. All kinds of fun stuff. We've also got these other DC designs. If you go to the left and you click on my albums, you can just check out the DC designs and say, make Man of Steel 2 happen. Make Scott Adkins Batman. Hope starts with an H, stupid. Those kinds of designs are all there. Bring Batfleck back. Hashtag release the Snyder Cut, which is validated now because they are releasing the Snyder Cut. I bet you didn't know Ben Affleck technically played Superman, did you? In live action even, with a suit. So that's something that you probably didn't know. Lots of art and fun stuff here that you can check out and get yourself some dope merch. That's actually going to help me because it financially funds you know, my family, my YouTube channel. It's going to help me get some cool stuff for the channel, more cameras, newer, better equipment and things like that. It's going to make my ability to make better content happen. You guys will make that happen by getting yourselves some cool merchandise from my merch store. So check that out. Do me that solid. And without further ado, I want to just say thank you. If you guys don't have a few bucks to spare to get yourself some sick merch, that's all right. But remember the 5 things I asked you to do at the very beginning of this video. Like this video, share it with a friend, comment down below, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you can be alerted right away when I go live next time. That way you won't miss a single thing. And those 5 things are completely free, no money down. And that'll help my channel grow to the 1,000 subscribers goal that I'm trying to hit so I can start making money off of these ads. So thank you guys very much. I really appreciate you. And you guys stay tuned for more right here on The Stuff of Legend. Hey guys, Dceu here. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. And remember to share this video with all of your nerd friends. I know you got them, and you know who they are. Leave a comment below and let me know what you thought about this discussion. Let me know what you would like to see me do a video on next. Subscribe to the channel because you're a legend, and we have that in common. Also be sure to turn on notifications to be notified right away when I upload my next video, or so that you can be alerted when I go live next time. That way you'll never miss a thing. Check out the other videos on the channel so that we can have a discussion on all your favorite movies and TV topics. Thanks again for watching. Stay tuned for more right here on The Stuff of Legend.